Back inside the Cardinal Playbook, and now we visit with head tennis coach Paul Worstell. Welcome. And the indoor tennis season, I guess the tennis season in general, already started for you.
Can you believe it? It feels like spring, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
we might know you did play inside this week, right?
That's right. We brought our players back a week early. We brought them back on January the 12th. We have an outstanding partnership with Clayview Country Club here in Liberty, and so they have 5 indoor courts. We've been practicing there over the last 2 weeks, and then had an exhibition match this past weekend against UMKC here in Kansas City.
How did that go?
Went great. They're Division I, so they play a little bit different format than what we're used to. It's a real shortened format, so we had some really good standout performances in that match. Notably, our number 3 women's doubles team won their match, which was a great win for them. Senior Sabrina Navarro, she's from Australia. She's a transfer student from last year. She lost her match at number 3 singles on the women's side, 7-5, 7-5. Really can't get any closer than that.
Yeah.
It was a pretty close match. Claire Mackay was a sophomore from Australia. She played really well for us at number 5. And then on the men's side, junior Amory Clues played number 1 for us for the first time. He lost his match 6-4, 6-4 to a Division I player at number 1. I thought that was a really strong performance. And then had a freshman play singles. His name is Jacob Plain. He's from Oklahoma. Lost his match 6-4, 6-1. What's interesting about that first set for him, he was down 3-0 in the first set, came back and won 4 straight games, got up 4-3, but then lost 6-4. So really good things. And what I told the players is that I want you to play well, but I don't want us to peak too early, and so still have a lot of things to work on.
When you say you come back from the break and you practice for 2 weeks, do you have to worry about conditioning, or are those kids playing and doing some things? Because tennis is a little different than, say, a basketball team.
Yeah, you hope that they have been doing some things over break, but we have a pretty rigid strength and conditioning program. They're with our strength coach, Coach Lang, for 2 days a week. And then in addition to what we do as far as conditioning on the courts during practices as well, it's pretty intense, especially this time of the year.
Okay, you play UMKC, an exhibition, as you said, against a Division I. What does the conference schedule look like? Who are the tougher teams, and what are some of the highlights of the upcoming schedule?
The upcoming schedule, for all of February, it's pretty much all indoor matches. So this is the time of the year that you don't really have to worry about weather cancellations as far as rain. And so that's a real fun part of the year because we know we're going to get a play. And so all of February is kind of a non-conference schedule. The highlight for us in February is we were invited to go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota at the end of February. They're opening up a brand new racket club, and we're playing at the University of North Dakota and the University of South Dakota.
That'll be fun.
And a fun little match there as well. So that'll be a fun trip. And then conference season really for us does not start until the end of March. And Drury and Rockhurst and Missouri St. Louis and Maryville are all usually really tough teams that we'll have to contend with.
How many of those do you get the chance to play at home?
At home, we'll get to play Rockhurst at home, which will be a big match for us, for both the men and the women. And then we'll have to go to Missouri St. Louis. We'll host Quincy, and we'll host Truman State here at home as well, and those will be really big matches for us as well.
Right. Break it down by men and women, but what do you need to do to be successful this year, just in general?
For us, I think the number one thing is consistency, cut down on errors. We really emphasize doubles play. Doubles play for us is really big because when we play our duels, we always start with doubles first. So it's our goal to come out of doubles up 2-1 or 3-0. And then we kind of take our chances in singles from there. Biggest thing is shot selections, patience, knowing when to go for certain balls, making sure we're balanced, moving forward into the court, that kind of thing. Right now, those are some things that we're seeing right now. Some things we need to work on. Footwork is everything in tennis. Right. If you can't get to a ball, you don't have options. Right. And so we're always preaching really good footwork out on the court. And so that's what we'll be working on this year.
You're working through all of those things with your current players and getting ready for the season, but I know you're also recruiting. What's new in the recruiting front for you?
Got a lot of exciting news that we'll get to announce in April. We've had some really outstanding verbal commits up to this point, which is great, but we'll get to announce those in April, which will be fun. We did have one player sign a letter of intent back in November. His name is Hayden Folk. Hayden's going to come to us from Springfield, Missouri, a pretty highly ranked player in the state of Missouri that will come in and help pay dividends in our lineup right away. really excited about him. Really great kid, very coachable, and just has a great attitude, hard worker, has had really good success in high school tennis down in Springfield, and really, really excited to have him on board for next year as well.
And you've had kind of a balance between local kids and state kids, stateside kids, but also some internationals. And what's your philosophy on that?
Well, the first thing I look at with the international players is their grades. William Jewell's a very tough academic school, and but it's also an outstanding reputation as far as getting a job and that kind of thing. And so we look at their academics first, and we if we feel like that they can make it here academically, along with playing tennis, managing their time, we'll go after them. And we've had some pretty good success in bringing some international players over, and all of them, which is really a testament to them, is that they are all outstanding students since they've been here.
Right.
And so they've learned early on, and I tell them early on in the recruiting process that academics come first, and they're here to get their degree first, because 99.9% of the players that come through here are not going to be professional tennis players.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
one of the nice things that you brought it up a moment ago, I haven't given it much thought lately, is the state of your health. Of course, you missed a whole year. What was it now, 2 years ago?
Yeah, the year 13-14 school year.
And you've been treated and now in remission for leukemia. Am I saying it the right way?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right.
I had a doctor's visit. So I had to have a bone marrow transplant in Omaha, Nebraska 2 years ago. And I went back for my 2-year checkup a couple of weeks ago. And the doctor at that point pretty much has said, you're doing great. And now that you've reached your 2-year mark, your chance of relapse is now less than 10%.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great news to hear.
Yeah.
So knowing that journey is that far back now,
Yeah.
it's amazing to look back and think 2 years ago what I was going through compared to where I am now.
What were the odds 2 years ago or even 3 years ago when you were diagnosed at that point to have dropped to 10% or less?
Well, the odds, first off, when I was first diagnosed, the chance for me to get to remission was 80%, but the chance of my long-term survival was less than 20% if I had not gotten a bone marrow transplant.
Wow.
And so with that, you've got to find a donor that matches you. And so we were able to do that. The other really exciting thing that I got to do a couple of weeks ago was I got to turn in the paperwork to meet my donor. And all that we know is he's a young man overseas. Mm-hmm. And so we've turned that paperwork in. It's up to him now whether or not he contacts me back. And so we're really crossing our fingers and really praying and hoping that we'll get to meet him. And I mean, how do you say thank you to that? I mean, he saved my life. And, kind of, and just a little bag of stem cells that went into my body that big was what saved my life, and all from his donation. So it's great.
Finally, I want to visit with you a little bit because people may not realize that you're also the sports information director at William Jewell, along with our tennis coach, and that's a huge responsibility. This year, you got a little help, and talk about Jalen a little bit, if you would.
Oh, outstanding individual. Jalen Ellison came to us. She graduated from Drury and went to Labette Community College before that. One of the things that it has just been a huge relief for me. There's not been a lot of a learning curve bringing her here because she's had previous sports information experience before at Labette. Outstanding, hard worker, really knows her way around computers, statistics, programs, graphics. There's most weeks I don't even have to tell her what to do. She just knows to do it.
Right.
That's the great thing about her. And she's just a really fun person to work with as well. Great attitude, and the stress level that I have this year rather than previous years is almost none now because of her, and especially the things that she's taken on. And I got a message from her last week and said, hey, I know tennis season is starting. What can I do to take things off your hands? Nice. And so that kind of thing. And so that's been a great relief for us, and it's been an outstanding addition to our staff.
Thanks, Paul. Inside the Cardinal Playbook will continue in just a moment. You've been watching Paul Worstell, our head tennis coach, women's and men's, along with sports information director, and we'll have more after this.
My family is made up almost entirely of farmers and construction workers. So it's no surprise that my mom says the family motto is work hard, play hard. I grew up on a golf course, and it was the site of several family rivalries. Some of those have continued into college, as my brother plays golf at our rival Rockhurst. But don't worry, Mom, I'm still working hard in school, as a triple major. I'm Logan Ruth, and the GLVC is me.
And that's Inside the Cardinal Playbook for this week. Remember, we'll have live audio broadcasts on the road for men's and women's basketball. Thursday night, it'll be Jewell at UMSL. It'll start at 5:30 with the women's game, our pregame 20 minutes before that. And Saturday afternoon, the Cardinal women and men's basketball teams are at Maryville starting at 1 o'clock. I'm Rick Cole. Thanks again for joining us inside the Cardinal Playbook.